welcome everybody. Good morning, good evening, and good night, and welcome to the second session of Fab Month, an open forum for bold ideas and real impact. Today, the session will be focused on two different topics. So we will start around, or is a variation of emergent technologies, circular making, and scaling the impact. And I want you to introduce you to Sam Peterson, who will be the moderator of today. And he will further along continue the conversation with different speakers, and we will have some Q&A sessions at the end. So with you, Sam.
Thank you very much, Nore. Welcome again, everybody. We'll jump straight into it to give everybody as much time as possible. Unfortunately, we did have a cancellation today for one of the presenters, but that means the good news is that we'll have a little bit more time for each of today's presentations. And hopefully we'll have a chance for a Q&A at the end of the session. So if you do have questions while these presentations are happening, please write them down. Feel free to put them in the chat, but also hold on to them so that we can have a group conversation at the end. And with that, we will go straight into Pushpalila and Parshav, who are talking about mapping the unmappable, data science, inheritage, and urban complexity. And one of you two will share your screen, correct? Okay. All right, take it away. Thank you.
Hi guys, can you see my screen?
Yep.
Yes, could you put it on slideshow? That way it's a little bit easier for everyone to see. Thank you.
All right, okay. Can everyone see this?
Oops, there we go. Yep, looks great.
Hi guys, my name is Parshav. Today, my colleague Pushpa and I are representing Pramaya, and our project is called Naichal. We are leveraging data-driven tools for sustainable crowd flow management in heritage city. Or to simply put, we are trying to map the unmappable. We are working in the context of Varanasi. Varanasi is one of the oldest continuously inhabited cities in the world. The city itself has a population of 1.7 million, but the population densities, especially in old parts of cities, go up to 6,000 people per square mile. There are up to 23,000 temples in this small condensed space, which leads to massive congestion problems. In 2021, the government of India built this new pilgrimage called the Kashi Vishwanath corridor that accumulates a lot of temples and the main temple together onto a premise. The number of visitors visiting this city has multiplied 50 to 60 times. Varanasi today has become the epicenter of spiritual tourism in a country that has 1.4 billion people. In 2022, there were 72 million people that visited the city. In 2023, it is 85 million. In 2024, it is expected that up to 100 or 110 million people visited the city, wherein on peak days, up to 700,000 people visit this very small district. And this district is called the Godavlia precinct. This is all the data that we could put together before we started working on this challenge. And we could clearly see that this is where maps fail and walking works. We tried to scrape and sketch all the data available across open repositories. But as you guys can see, some of the busiest spaces are still missing in official maps. What we realized is that Godavlia is actually a network of thresholds, rituals, and flows, and these need to be mapped. In order to do the same, we started looking at what we can map that has always been invisible. We wanted our approach to be multi-source and multi-scale to produce insights that support accessibility, inclusion, and urban rejuvenation. This is where we even added things like climate sensing and policy review to our focus group discussions. The idea is we want to use civic sensing as a means to share intelligence. We are proposing an array of solutions in this precinct, divided into distinct phases. We want to engage pedestrians in the first phase by developing navigation tools. We want to empower authorities in the second phase by curating a mobility analytics dashboard. And in the final stage, we want to strengthen communities because we want to help them shape the system through which these tools and engagement can happen. And we want to essentially use local infrastructure as launch pads for further feedback loops. And this is where engagement with the smart city team in Varanasi came in. This team already has a lot of geolocated data. They also are working on a lot of projects on the ground. But they are held back by bureaucracy, so they have limitations and restrictions with respect to the availability of real-time open data. And they especially showed interest in climate sensing. They want to particularly look at temperature, particulate matter, and noise levels, something that they are not mapping as of now.
So to help them with that, we initially thought, oh, let's use the smart citizen kit that I think you guys would be familiar with. So this sensor has all the required parameters that we're measuring, like noise, temperature, and particulate matter. And we definitely wanted to install the first ever smart citizen kit on ground, which we did. But then this was delayed because of the supply chain issues that we saw in the Seed Studio. So C Studio is someone who actually like met during the Fab conference in Bhutan that I had gone to. And so what they suggested was maybe let's try installing some industrial sensors instead while waiting for the smart citizen kit. So we thought this was a good idea because first, this already is the sensors are tested and calibrated according to the test parameters that they have. Not only that, they also have a great environmental casing already put together so that it will actually withstand all weather conditions. But even with this, we got another issue, which was customs duty. We had to pay like 50% customs duty because, you know, just importing things from China to India was a big hassle. So when we got the census, but we faced another challenge, which was actually, you know, saying true to our problem statement, which is mobility. Bringing the sensor to the local partner that we're partnering with to install there was a problem. So we brought it all the way from Mumbai to Varanasi, but bringing it to the cafe was a big challenge because of how the different roads and small streets are. The rickshaw that we took couldn't make it all the way to the cafe that we wanted to install in. So we had to like carry the sensors with us and then bring it there, set it up in the cafe. And that was the biggest problem actually we faced. After that, the community got into place. So the cafe owners were really, really supportive and they got excited about it. They brought in their electricians and their welders to be able to help install the sensors onto their cafe. So they even had all this different tactical hardware requirement that they brought in just to be able to set this up in their cafe. And one of the things that's required as part of their local businesses is to install CCTV cameras, which actually came really in handy for us because we want to see how the climate data actually coincides with the crowd mobility data. And we were hoping that we can use this to be able to see if there's any correlation. And with that, actually, while working with them, we realized there's actually a really strong local business network that support each other in part of Varanasi, which we hope to really use to be able to expand our sensor networks in the future if we want to. And another thing that we also we're leveraging on them is alert systems. Sometimes data doesn't get transmitted as seamlessly as we always want it to be. So as of now, they are helping us check if the data is being transmitted, but then we want to take it away from that, a human intervention, to be able to do a technological intervention to say, hey, we're not getting data. Is there anything that we can do to help make this better? So, and as much as we want to say technology is our biggest problem, but in this case, this situation is so unique that theft is the primary challenge, and that is what we focused on. And that's why we decided to partner with the local partners who will be able to keep a watch on the sensors, because getting the data is not the harder part. It's to be able to have the sensors still to be able to get the data. So now that we have installed the sensors, what we're going to plan to do next is actually trying to visualize the data, of course, and then see how we can correlate it with the CCTV camera data and see how we can actually implement physical urban interventions using this data as a backup to tell the authorities, saying that, hey, you are seeing these climate changes. Are you able to do something about it? Or like, can we, and we want to see if we can actually do something related to giving them suggestions on what we can do on ground. So this is still ongoing, and we are planning to present this project to the authorities like towards end of May. So this is still ongoing. So we will probably be able to give more information of our insights once we continue to find insights on this. So this is actually made possible by a very interdisciplinary team, because this problem is, you can't just resolve it with just one discipline. So we have architects, urban designers, and engineers like me working together to see how we can merge technology and local urban interventions to be able to make better mobility solutions for the heritage city like Varanasi. Thank you.
Thank you so much. That's such a wonderful, hugely expansive project. I think we will have more questions. We had a couple of comments and questions come into the chat. I think maybe we'll save those for a little bit later, as long as Pushpa or Pasha, if you would like to respond to the questions or comments in the chat, just openly for a moment, please feel free.
Hi.
Are you able to see the chat? Okay.
Yes, maybe I can respond to the first one. So the Smart Citizen Kit is open source, so anyone can actually see the data. But we're still waiting to get data from different locations in Varanasi, so you wouldn't see as extensive data yet. But the Seed Studio is actually more closed doors, but we're happy to talk about the data more, and we might be able to share the dashboard which visualizes the data.
Also, just to add to that, we've been using like a lot of just remote sensing data using open data banks, QGIS, open data scraper. And what we are trying to do is develop urban tools that can then be part of an open data platform. Essentially, what the zone that we are working on, because of its spiritual significance, is a extremely high security zone. So the smart city team or the government cannot release CCTV footage without a lot of bureaucratic resistance. So our idea is to try and curate something that can help a bottom-up development, where we can work with locals to integrate the same citizen sensing toolkits and create new data repositories, because this is like a data blank kind of, it's a black hole when it comes to data, this particular site.
Yeah. The smart, as I said, I'm responding to the last question. The Smart Citizen Kit is actually an open source hardware. I think it's part of Fab Barcelona. And the S800 is slightly pricey, but they do have other types of sensors in that, sensor, different types that I had actually showed earlier. So I'm happy to talk further. And with regards to Peter's, sure, we would like to present it if we have the opportunity. I'm not sure whether we can travel to present, but if there's any like online opportunities I know it's happening in Czech today this time, so I'm not sure if we can actually go there to present, but we'll probably have more data and insights to present during FAB 25.
Thank you very much for being willing to respond to questions as they come in. And again, it looks like we may even have more time for a conversation at the end of all of the presentations today than we originally anticipated. Still looking for a couple of folks in the room here with us, but at the moment, the name I'm seeing that is scheduled to present is Yesel. Are you able to hear me, and are you ready to present at this moment? Just for the moment, or if there's anything else that you would like to say, please feel free.
I
I'm
would
just curious, is there anything that you guys are curious about in the terms of the project? Sorry, did I cut
No, I
someone?
was just going to mention this one very interesting fact about the precinct that we are working in. There is live cremation going on there for the past few centuries. So that is why climate sensing becomes very important because it is such a religious place and Hindus believe in cremating bodies. Right by the river, there's a ghat, a platform where cremations have been going on for centuries. So there's a continuous kind of life and death cycle happening within that precinct. And that is like the craziness within which we are trying to do climate sensing. Just that.
Another interesting fact is that we all had gone to visit Varanasi last month, and all of us got sick because it was just the pollution was insane. Like all of us got sore throat. So that kind of told us like this is really needed, and I don't think the authorities really know the severity of the pollution there.
Thank you for that additional insight, and I'm sorry that that you had to experience that. But thank you for sacrificing yourselves for the good of the project.
Just to kind of comment on that that toolkit, I think that is a great source of kind of information even for us, especially with respect to data scoping, because that toolkit like really at least contextualizes a lot of methodologies that we can take on the ground. So I would definitely consider that like a great resource. Thank you so much, Peter, for sharing it.
And Peter, if you know any such smart city projects that personally in Europe, and if you want to connect us to them, we'd love to. We are very curious to see how they were able to find insights from the data that they have gotten through this. So yeah, and I'm opening it up to the wider audience as well. So if you want, I mean, we are in the process of trying to figure out how we're going to make insights from the data. So if anyone has any, suggestions, it would be great.
I'm wondering while we're waiting for other presenters to find their way here and to get themselves in order. I'm wondering if so you mentioned that sort of unexpectedly that theft of the physical apparatus was one of the biggest challenges. Did you find was there pushback at all from the community? I know that there's already, as you said, CCTV in place, but was there resistance to more technology that sort of could be perceived as surveillance technology from the community? Was there any additional concern or pushback?
As of now, no, because we really haven't scaled it up to like multiple sensors. So maybe it might happen when we try to scale it up to multiple sensors in different parts of the precinct. But as of now, we are working closely with someone that we already know, and they are very much in line with what we're doing. So I guess we kind of lucked out in this phase of the project, but I'm assuming that next time we're going to face more, because if you're going to expand to more local businesses, they're going to have a lot of questions regarding this. Yeah.
Thank you. And for those who've joined in just the last few minutes, we are having a couple of technical issues, but we are working to resolve them. I see that Giselle is having trouble sharing the presentation. If you would like to just come on camera, Giselle, and if you're not able to show the presentation, perhaps you could just read some of your notes and present a bit of what you plan to say. And in the meantime, you could send, if it's possible, you could send via email to me your presentation, and I can try to share my screen while you're speaking. I'll send you my email address.
May I, Sam? Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. I think there are here in the Netherlands a few interesting projects related to this. And they also, my impression from these projects is that they are often a little bit becoming too complex. So we should cooperate with each other to learn as much as possible from each other. First, for instance, you have the quality of the sensors and the sensors that are working or not working, and how you are managing that level of information, how you are filtering out the wrong sensors who are sending data but not correct. And then another point is that you always have not enough sensors, and you want to have sensors and public data as well that you want to merge with your data. And the next level of problems is that you have point observations. There is a sensor at one point, and you would like to make statements about an area. So that is also partially something mathematically or statistically, but anyway, it is complex, and we should bring together. You have important pieces of the puzzle, maybe some groups in Europe as well. By the way, the sensor kit is originating at Fab Lab Barcelona, and Fab Lab Amsterdam was also involved. I think Amsterdam is more the author of the blue booklet, while Barcelona is more the author of the software and the design of the kit. Seed Studio is the factory, is replicating the kit. They didn't invent it themselves. And but if we bring all these pieces together, then all the parties could benefit from it, I think. I further must apologize because I have some other things to do, Sam, but I was very happy to see that this point was the first on the agenda, because I certainly wanted to see it. So thank you very much.
Thank you very much for joining and for all of your contributions, Peter. I am still trying to find some of our presenters and some of their content. Unfortunately, I don't have the presentations for anyone at the moment, so I can't share their information. So we are waiting for Giselle to.
Hello, everyone. Thank you for the opportunity to share a project for Aaron Social concerning environmental chemistry and food innovation. My name is Giselle Luna, an entrepreneur and biochemical engineering student in Tec Purísima, Mexico. Today, I present Dati, a venture addressing global challenge, chronic degenerative syndrome, more commonly known as diabetes, discrete metabolic disease affect millions. And Agent with 2045, over 785 people are a project to live with diabetes, a 46% increase behold diabetes has profound economic and social impact on families, communities, and healthcare system. Today, with introducing in the favored yogurt with mesquite, considered a superfood and tool for ecosystem restoration. We found inspiration in the mesquite tree, a native species of arid region. For centuries, indigenous communities have used mesquite as a traditional food. Key benefits include a natural glycemic, dietary and soluble fiber, protein, carbohydrate, and antioxidant, a probiotic effect that supports heart health.
Through clinical research and glucose testing, we observed that after hyperglycemic peak, blood sugar levels drop significantly, confirming and yogurt effectiveness in glycemic control. We be collaborated with our universities and institutes like the Guanajuato Innovation Institute to study mask, nutrition, and ecology benefits. We in people and an open source model sharing to empower others because we believe it is the tree is beacon of hope for solid health and humanity.
Our project aligns with multiple sustainable development goals. SDG 1, end of poverty. SDG 2, zero hunger. SDG 3, health and well-being. SDG 4, quality education. SDG 12, responsible production and consumption. SDG 13 and 15, climate action and land restoration. Dati has participated in research fairs and innovation competition, creating impact locally, nationally, and some globally. Sometimes the best ideas are from personal need. Dati is speciality that a purpose-driven, compassionate response for those who need it most. Today, I know we're not alone in this cause. Every step connects to something greater, health, our planet, and community. Thank you.
Thank you very much for that presentation again. Sorry for all the complexity in getting this presentation out to everyone. That was wonderful. I'm still looking for a few of the folks who were originally scheduled to present. So I think we still have a bit of time here. If folks have questions or comments that you'd like to put in the chat, or even just unmute yourselves and feel free to ask a question right now while we're searching for our other presenters. Thank you. Dan will be presenting on empowering young aviators, hands-on tech for aviation education.
Thank you for this opportunity and allow me to greet everyone listening. I will start like there's nothing good like growing up with a good passion, the one that you think of and become more energetic. But on the other hand, there's nothing bad like growing up in a community that never believes that your passion is really reachable or possible. So with that, here is a good fact. In Rwanda, my motherland, 8 out of 10 young people believe that STEM careers like aviation are for others. Expensive, too far, and too impossible. And statistics show that 80% of youth who join STEM careers think that they are foreigners, right? Okay. But me personally, I sat down and think of what can we do if I have this passion of aviation and I'm growing up in a community that never believes that I can become an aviator. So I'm called Dan Mwine and I'm the founder and managing director at Pride Club Rwanda Aviation Club. So before I continue, I will just, if someone is listening, can just raise hand or just send a flight sticker. If we ever dream of flying and 1 or 2 people told you that your dream is unrealistic. If someone is listening to me, can just send a sticker or just raise the hands. Wow, 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 wow. So I knew this just because me too, I made the same scenario. I grown up with a passion of aviation, particularly flight, and I met many people telling me that, you know what, your dream is unrealistic. You cannot be a pilot. See your background, see what and what, see also your community. But after realizing that I'm not only one person that is meeting the same situation, a big community is meeting the same. So I came up with an idea of creating a community that empowers those people who are always discouraged by the communities or the societies where they come from. So that's why Pride Club Rwanda steps in. But before I go further, I want just to think the reason as to why aviation and other STEM careers are thought unrealistic. I will be more specific on aviation. There is lack of exposure. Many young people don't realize that aviation careers can be joined as other aviation as other careers. You can imagine if someone tells you that I want to become a doctor, and someone else comes and tell you I want to become a pilot. It is easy to hear that someone can become a doctor rather than thinking that someone can become a pilot. So why is that mentality growing, or what causes that mentality? There is lack of exposure. Number two, there is mindset. Many people says pilot equals foreigners, but that have to change, right? Now, there is also limited hands-on learning. Schools lack aviation education as well as engineering labs. So, before you continue, are you clear on that? Right? Okay. A good philosopher once said that understanding where the problem is a half of finding. Okay. A good philosopher once said that understanding where the problem is a half of finding its best solution. So, if you agree with that, I would like to tell you that in Flight Club Rwanda, we integrate aviation education in labs, right? And we use some materials that we can afford, like drone, a small drone, to make the students or the community be more engaged and motivated. So, aviation club, I told you, Flight Club Rwanda, is a community that was formed by me personally, and it inspires, educates, and empowers young aviators or young generation of aviators, right? Are we on the same page? Yeah. So now that why Flight Club thought of this solution. There is creating a practical learning experience to bridge the gap. We want to bridge the gap between dreaming and reality of the aviation. We want to make students or young generation feel like they have become became pilots already. Yes, and now there is students in aviation club, in my aviation club, don't just come and learn. They build, they test, and they fly. They fly. Unfortunately, we have a single drone, but everyone has a time to take this drone and try to fly. Everyone knows now how to fly this drone by using a drone controller. Yes, and we provide hands-on learning in hand in hand with hands-on experience, right? Now, if you heard me well, this approach makes aviation accessible and engaging as our main aim, to make aviation engaging and accessible to every young generation who is dreaming of becoming an aviator. Now, guess what is our future? We aim to expand aviation innovation across all continents. We aim to scale aviation across all continents. We want to change the mentality that many people have about aviation. That's our main aim and the future prediction. And we want to develop AI-powered training, AI-powered flight training. We want to make a way of training aviators by using AI. And now, we also aim to create a global network of young aviators innovation across all globe. That's our future prediction. And to sum it up, we are not just teaching aviation, but we are shaping the future of flight. Are we on the same page? Okay. And that's why we need you to engage. We need everyone to engage. To Fab Labs partner with us to launch aviation program and creating a good space for aviators. We need your support. To engineers and mentors, we need you to share your expertise with young innovators. To investors and supporters, help us fund aviation education for youth for the better world of tomorrow, right? And join us in making aviation accessible to all generation of young people across the globe. In Flight Club, our slogan says, we soar beyond limits, we engineer the future. Thank you so much for your time and consideration.
Thank you very much, Dan. Really appreciate that. I'm going to put a link into the chat for just a little bit more information about Flight Club Rwanda. Dan, if you have a better link to share, please feel free to drop that in there. This is an announcement from Dan on LinkedIn about the launch of Flight Club Rwanda. Please feel free to take a look at that. I just want to make sure, is Juan Carlos here? I haven't seen the name, Juan Carlos Colin. Haven't seen him appear in the room. If Juan Carlos is here or a colleague, please let me know. Please speak up. We still have some time for a final presentation. If not, we still have a few minutes remaining. And if anybody would like to share a comment, ask another question of any of the three presenting groups, please feel free to drop those in the chat or just to unmute yourself and come in and share your comment or question with the crowd. Everyone's gone a little quiet, I understand. And I know we've had our technical issues tonight, whatever it may be for you. Thank you for staying up late if you have joined us from a distant time zone, and apologies again for the complications here, but thank you for those of you who made it and persevered and presented despite the challenges. Thank you for your participation as audience members. We have been recording these sessions. We will be uploading them to our YouTube channel to share. So there will be more information to come, especially for those of you who weren't able to hear so well during the presentations. Again, please feel free to drop any comments or questions in the chat. And I want to remind everyone that we do have one final session coming up for Fab Month, which is about 2 weeks from now. It's going to be Friday, April 25th at the same time. We'll be discussing education broadly across the Fab Lab Network. We certainly hope that all of our scheduled presenters arrive on time and are able to present all of that content. If you join us again, please come with questions and prepared to engage in a discussion and prepared to be a little bit agile and flexible and able to roll with us as we deal with the complications that arise in the moment. We'll give you one more minute. If you have questions, comments, anything you'd like to drop in the chat or just share with us openly. Thank you, Adrian.
Thank you. I'm by the name of Cynthia, and I'm some sort of kind colleague to Dan Mwine. Thank you for giving us this opportunity for the presentation. What I would like to comment on what Dan Mwine said, I'm also that kind of a girl who grew up dreaming of becoming a pilot. Since my childhood, I have always dreamt of becoming a pilot, and it's really something which inspires me up to now. And we were all having some difficulties thinking that, okay, everyone says, oh, are you going to join that? Are you that rich to afford that kind of money? Like the fees is high or something like that. But Dan became a solution, some sort of a solution. Like he started up that thing of a club which is going to help us. Okay, it's not teaching us to become pilots, but at least it brings that inspiration. It helps us with some different kinds of skills about aviation. Like we get to use those drones. We get to communicate to some people like you who are some kind ahead of us. And what I would like to say is that this is really an inspiration to all of us, and it's really going to help not only us who are members of that flight club, Rwanda, but it has to spread like globally to some other countries where they haven't accessed some help like that. We think that this flight club Rwanda does not have to only remain in our school, not only in our country, but it has to spread globally because there are some different schools, different countries where you have some learners, some students who are still thinking low of themselves, who think that they cannot afford becoming pilots, join engineering. Okay, they don't have to think that not having that much money for the fees is going to stop them from what they dream of. A dream is something that we think of becoming, and we have to try our best to attain that. And I would like to really thank Dan, who brought this idea of helping people who were like him. And I also thank you guys who had or took your time to listen to his presentation, and really hope you can help us and get to get what we really want to achieve. And I really thank you. The Fab Month, it's the first time we saw you guys, but we hope you're really going to help us. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Cynthia, for that additional context and for sharing your story. Okay, I think we've come to the end of our second session of Fab Month. Again, thanks everyone for joining. Thanks for being flexible. Hope you learned a lot and have found a way to connect with folks outside of this forum. And again, please do consider joining us on April the 25th for the final session. Adrian has just dropped a link for registration in the chat here. And we hope to see you all then. Thanks very much. Bye-bye.
Bye.